Ex-quarterback Colin Kaepernick is named GQ magazine Citizen of the Year. Yes, there is still a GQ magazine.
Editors are comparing the man who started the NFL kneeling controversy to athlete activists like Jackie Robinson and Muhammad Ali.
Here to react, we got Fox News contributor Tomi Lahren joins us from L.A. today. Tomi, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Okay, so in the corner of the GQ magazine, it says the new American heroes. I'm sure he is a hero to many. What do you think about this selection?
I gotta tell you, wouldn't it be nice if some of these mainstream fashion magazines and lifestyle magazines look at the actual heroes we have, law enforcement, military, everyday heroes like that, as citizens of the year and not someone who simply disrespected the flag, the national anthem, and the military. But you know what? Hey, that's GQ for you.
Yeah, meanwhile, the New York Times is under fire for their op-ed asking if kids can be friends, black kids can be friends with white kids. Here's the quote: "Can my children be friends with white people?" In fact, the guest was on earlier with Tucker Carlson earlier this week. What do you think about this? Is this to create interest, or is this a legitimate question?
Well, clearly the title of the article is meant to be clickbaity, but let's just take a moment and think if this article were titled, "Can my children be friends with black people?" That would be disgustingly racist and everyone would have an outcry over it. But because it's white people, we live in this obscure world where Colin Kaepernick is Citizen of the Year and it's okay to say, "Can my children be friends with white people?" That is liberal logic for you. Welcome to their world.
Democrats first were screaming at the sky at the anniversary of President Trump being elected. Now they're building a resistance hotel down in D.C. The developer is opening this anti-Trump hotel. What do you think about that? And will you be staying there?
You know, I think you can probably answer that question, but I just think it's so odd that we had generations of Americans, black and white, brown, and every color of the rainbow, that fought segregation, and now we have liberals that are actively wanting to segregate us by political party, by color. In some cases, it's quite disgusting. Good luck on your enterprise. And also, I would like to note that it's the free marketplace and capitalism that allows someone like this to open up a hotel, but they probably don't understand that because of the leftist world in which they live.
They counter it by saying that the Trump Tower has the Trump Hotel has turned into a pro-Trump hotel, but that wasn't the intention. I mean, it was being built before he was even declared to be running for president.
Well, let's talk about all the employees of the Trump hotels and Trump International. I personally stayed in Trump hotels. The staff was fantastic. The service was fantastic. It wasn't pro-Trump. It was pro-service. It was pro-guest. And I had a great time there. And I'm looking at all the people that were employed by it. And I think that's a great thing for the United States of America. Maybe the anti-Trump Tower will employ some folks as well. But, you know, really disgusting message behind it.
I will say this, Tommy. I went in there and I needed a new tie. I was able to do it on layaway.
The Resistance Hotel?
Yeah, no, at the Trump Hotel.
Oh, okay.
I went in there and I needed a new tie, so I went to the men's area. I don't know. And I basically couldn't pay for it all at once. I said, what if I just give you a down payment?
How much was it?
It was an expensive tie. I mean, I needed financing, but to walk out with this tie as my own.
Really? A Trump tie?
It's a very luxurious.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
I think they made it from scratch. They had their own loom.
There you go. Well, Tommy, thank you very much for joining us today from Los Angeles. We covered a lot of territory today. Have a great week.
Welcome back. I'm Liz Wheeler, and this is my final point. GQ magazine named out-of-work football player and social justice warrior Colin Kaepernick as Citizen of the Year. Last month, 4 American soldiers were killed in a firefight with ISIS. One hero soldier fought off a whole bunch of terrorists with one machine gun before he was captured, dragged away, and killed. But yeah, let's honor the yuppie quarterback who wore socks declaring all U.S. police officers to be pigs. That's a great message. Let's teach a new generation of little black boys to live in fear of a phantom Democratic talking point. That's right, it's a talking point. Fomenting violence and racial divide by lying. Yes, lying about police-involved shootings of unarmed black men. The hands up, don't shoot narrative is a lie. It's been debunked as a lie. If you'd like to read more about it for yourself, I invite you to please do so. Read the forensic analysis of the Michael Brown case. Read the judge's ruling on Darren Wilson. Educate yourself on what the video evidence actually tells us. Don't just mimic a millionaire athlete with a communist girlfriend who turns his back on our flag and disrespects our military because he's too lazy to open his mind and accept the truth. What message is GQ magazine sending with this honor? Do you want your kids to emulate the football player who praises the communist government in Cuba? Great healthcare, he says, great education. Well, then why do so many Cubans risk shark-infested waters to escape the Cuban regime? Seems like a pretty dumb thing to do to escape paradise. And while we're at it, how many Cubans are allowed to protest their government and live to see another day, let alone get their face plastered on the front of GQ magazine? Oh, that's right. That only happens in America because America is second to none in the world, and any person can say any stupid thing he wants without fear of the government punishing him. Do you want your kids to emulate the football player who idolizes Che Guevara, the radical communist who executed innocent people for doing the same thing Kaepernick did, expressing their opinions? It seems funny to me that the man who made himself a household name criticizing our country idolizes the radical who killed people who criticized their country. Do you want your kids emulating the man who praised Assata Shakur, the cop killer who shot a New Jersey state trooper in cold blood, then escaped prison, then fled to Cuba? No, I think not. Funny how GQ never mentioned any of these things Kaepernick has done. J.J. Watt raised $37 million for relief for Hurricane Harvey victims. But yeah, GQ, let's honor Kaepernick, the man who disrespected the flag that draped the coffins of the men and women who died to protect his right to be an idiot. And that's my final point. You can reach me on Twitter at Liz_Wheeler. If you liked the show, please send me an email at oann.com/contact. In the meantime, catch us here tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. And until then, have a good night.
GQ magazine released the cover of its annual Men of the Year issue, naming former San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick as their Citizen of the Year. Now, they said they are honoring Kaepernick's activism on police brutality. Remember, this is the same Kaepernick. See those socks? It depicts policemen as pigs. And much worse. Joining us with reaction, American First Action spokesman, senior advisor, former Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark, and civil rights attorney Darryl Parks. Darryl, it's the stuff that the position that he has taken on police. It is a broad, sweeping generalization. You know, we see in Vegas, we see on 9/11, we see in the most recent attack in New York, we see the cops. Those are the days we remember, wow. These are amazing people that put their lives on the line for us. And don't they deserve the presumption of innocence? And the action of one bad cop does not reflect on the 99.999% of others. He rushes to judgment. He supported a murdering dictator, Castro. How do he get the Man of the Year with socks and acting like that?
Sean, let me say, you got to also remember that there are still hundreds of young black males who've lost their lives at the hands of the police as well, too. So, yes, there are situations where we have to take a look at this.
There are instances of a few, but there are also instances of many cops that risk their life. Look at the cops in the case of Steve Scalise going up against a rifle, open field with a pistol. That's almost a suicide mission. But they did it to save lives. That's how amazing these cops are to me.
Well, let me say, and I know Officer Bailey personally. He's a proud member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Let me say, people like that do good things, but we still have to deal with the big problem we have with black people losing their lives in the hands of the police. We have not dealt with that issue as a country. So he brought great attention to a great number of people who are losing their lives with encounters with law enforcement. That issue has not been dealt with as a country. We must deal with it.
Sheriff?
Well, first of all, the facts are very clear. The data is clear. More black men lose their lives at the hands of other black men, not police. But as for GQ, look, I think probably the first runner-up would have been O.J. Simpson. This is a political stunt by GQ magazine, a failing magazine. You know, their viewership or their readership is probably off. And they had to bring attention to themselves. That's why I call this a political stunt, much like when Rolling Stone put one of the Tsarnaev brothers on their cover. The left and GQ in this instance has really cheapened what it means in the United States of America to hold iconic status. When I think of people like Medgar Evers, lost his life fighting for civil rights, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, who did it silently, Muhammad Ali, who was stripped of his boxing title to stand up for what he believed in. And I think of Jackie Robinson, who crossed the color barrier in baseball. These people accomplished something and really stood for something. They had a core about them. Kaepernick doesn't know what he's talking about. If you recall, Sean, he's not the original take a knee. That was Tim Tebow who did it in prayer. Kaepernick sat on his ass during the national anthem, and the disrespect that he showed not only for the flag and for the anthem and for America, but for military people as well.
Those people that fought, bled, and died. 20 seconds, Daryl.
Without question, the protest was not about the flag. I think.
Oh, yes,
no,
that
it was
flag,
never about
people
the flag.
died fighting
It was never
under,
about
sir.
the flag. No, but his protest was not about the